In front of us is a building that has not been built, but rather carved. It has been carved out of ideas, out of desires, and out of feelings. Commissioned by the Thomasina Foundation, the building's purpose was to be an exhibition place for Carlton. However, the architect who designed it had much bigger plans in mind. So how did this building come to be? For that, we need to look back. This was not barren land. In 1857, the Corcoran Irish pub was built on this very corner. However, the Corcoran had a more sinister history of being the centre of black market art dealings, shuffling valuable artworks using the elaborate pipe networks underneath the pub that spans all throughout Melbourne. While the underbelly of this black market was being investigated, a suspicious fire broke loose, burning the pub to an unrepairable state. Not all was lost, as the basement that held the majority of the stolen artworks was left and recovered. The second building to reside in this very spot was a rather controversial private residence, which was much to the distaste of the taxpayers of Carlton, who felt that the land was once open to the public and should stay that way. This was understandable. The building was cold and shrewd, and the person who wanted such a building? Calais was his name. He was a furniture tycoon that had a rather peculiar relationship to the Lord. Calais did not think of the Lord as someone that he would follow, but rather someone that could protect him, not only from his devious deeds he made as a ruthless salesman, but from himself. However, Calais' inevitable demise was brought on by the local sensibility of Carlton, and not even the great power of the Lord could stop it. It has been rumoured that the dwellers of Carlton's distaste of Calais started slowly, with loiterers. Some speculate that these loiterers felt the need to recapture the land that was once open to them and enjoyed by everyone. Then it quickly grew into the complete ransacking and pillaging of the residents. Calais fled, but his essence remained in the site he created. The site was picked apart with almost surgical precision. Rebuilding from the ashes. The first building to be formed was commissioned by the Thomasina Foundation. This was an attempt to reconcile with the residents of Carlton by creating an open-to-public art exhibition space. However, the old ruined Calais building was still among us. It hangs off like a trinket, forever being a reminder and a symbol of the people's ability to take back. This, however, was an attempt that fell short. Instead of being the beacon of Carlton that it so longed to be, it felt hollow, a husk that dared not to do anything wrong. This finally brings me to the present day. After all the historical, controversial, and societal history that the site possessed, it was only fair to make one last crack at getting it right. And so, the building went into its final transformation. Because Carlton is ever-changing, so shall be the building. The building needs to withstand the future by being able to be expanded on. The open spaces in the building are so at no point does it not have a use. For buildings to last through the ages, they must have a base of two things: beauty and usefulness. It must grab the eye of the beholder and inspire those who walk by. The building is a living historical text, not written in words or ink, but in stone and brick. The very bricks that were so meticulously taken from the buildings that lay there before were repurposed, perhaps mimicking the building blocks of society. History can never be erased nor forgotten. It can only be repaired and built upon.